wanted to share a little bit with you guys about the application process. Darren talked briefly about the requirements. I'll talk about that in depth, but I want to thank everybody for coming here and learning about the University of Utah. I'm excited to see so many different people from all over the United States and all over the world. University of Utah is a very international place where 90% of our PhD students come from outside the United States. And so we do provide lots of funding for the top quality applicants that are looking to be able to join our program. As some of you students in this meeting might be interested in the master's degree. All of our master's degrees are without funding, meaning that you're not necessarily required to have a research assistant job. Quite often, students who start the master's degree program will apply for a teaching assistant position. Those are difficult to obtain in your first semester, but once students do arrive here for a master's degree, they can find a teaching assistant position if they're qualified for that. But I wanted to be able to contrast and show you guys a little bit about the master's application process, because the first step of being able to apply and then get it approved by our graduate committee, and then we notify the students, and then our university admissions office will do a simple review of your transcript to verify that it is official, and then you may be accepted to the program if you meet the degree requirements. If you're in a PhD program, it's a little bit longer process, because once your application is reviewed, you're required to find a faculty member who is willing to sponsor you and hire you to work as a research assistant. Many people know that within a PhD program, a big part of that is publishing a thesis, which is conducting research. A lot of our research is funded by the federal governments or private entities, but in order to be able to qualify for that funding, you have a faculty supervisor who needs to decide who the most qualified applicant person is who can conduct that research. And so once we approve the names, we do an extra step here of sending the names of approved applications to the faculty, and then the faculty they may do interviews, they may talk with each of you, schedule Zoom meetings, but then after they have reviewed all the applications for their specific area, that's when they notify me to send an offer letter, and then that's when you could accept it, and then we send it to admissions, and then you're fully accepted into the program. And for students who are in the international category, we have some additional steps, because after you're admitted to the admissions program, that's when we issue what's known as an I-20. This is the official documentation indicating that you've been accepted to the program, and with an I-20, you're able to schedule a visa appointment with the United States Embassy and meet with them to get approval to be able to enter the country and to be able to work as a research assistant. And so these steps is a long process. It looks great on a simple PowerPoint, but to be honest with you, it normally takes about 4 to 5 months. The reason why we're starting this recruiting process in December is because students that get offer letters in January usually will get approved in time with the embassy by the end of July, beginning of August. And so it's a very long process. Many of the United States embassies are busy. I'm very familiar with that process, and I'll be happy to communicate with you if you do receive an offer letter on the steps of where we are in this 12-step process. Just so you know, every single person has to pay the application fee, which is $65 US. Before you start your application, it's good to be able to get a copy of your transcript. We prefer the official transcript because that makes it easier for us to review. And it makes the admissions process, once you're accepted, it makes it easier, because that's what the University of Utah admissions office will look for when applying. Is their official transcript. And so some students save money. If you're applying to multiple universities, it can get very costly to send 10 different universities of official transcript. If so, we completely understand. So we will accept the unofficial transcript as a brief summary. But then once you choose to get accepted, we do strongly recommend that you send the official copy of your transcript. We are going to be looking on your transcripts for a 3.2 grade point average for a master's and a 3.5 for a PhD. And just so you guys are aware, our faculty is very international. We interview and review these transcripts from all over the world. We can read Chinese, Indian, Iranian, Vietnamese, you name it, Nigerian. We have a faculty member who can read that transcript. And so it helps if it's translated, but fortunately the footnotes at the end of a transcript are in English, so we can read those as well. But don't let that be a barrier to you applying to the program, is your transcript. We know how to read it and interpret it. That's not a problem for us. We also want to get 3 letters of recommendation. You do not need to get the letters yourself. All you need to do is to put in the name of the faculty member that you want and their email address, and we will notify them and ask for a letter of recommendation. So that comes directly from them, and so that will save you some steps in the process. We'd like to see a resume or a CV, as well as a statement of purpose. This can be very short, only a half page, letting us know why you're interested in joining our program. One nice thing that's happened as a result of COVID, we are still waiving the GRE requirement. We used to require all students take the GRE to be admitted, but we are now waiving that requirement. Quite often students ask us if there is a waiver. I know other universities do have that waiver. I have looked into that process, and unfortunately, because of the way our admissions office is so busy managing the database and the applications process, as well as processing the I-20s, that your application fee goes to actually process those I-20 international documents, which is very labor intensive. And so unfortunately, I'm sorry we didn't have any application waivers. I've looked into it and I wish I could, but unfortunately I just can't do that. For international students, we also have an English proficiency requirement. Fortunately, we do have a variety of different tests that students can take. There's the TOEFL exam, the IELTS exam, or Duolingo, which was just approved. We do like for our students to have at least 100 on their TOEFL score. But if you have above an 80, that is in the acceptable range. We realize that many students have taken engineering classes in English when they come here. And so they're pretty proficient in the English language, but we need to use that as a gauge just to ensure that you can be successful once you arrive here. So that's an important step. And also part of the advantage of coming to the University of Utah is we have something called the graduate tuition benefits. This is how most of our international students do fund their PhD or master's degrees, is through these tuition benefits. You have the opportunity to work as a teaching assistant or a research assistant, and that covers all of your tuition. There is additional engineering tuition differential amounts that is required, but as a part of that requirement, that will be spelled out in your specific offer letter. And there's also 80% of the health insurance is paid for by the university, and 20% is paid for by the student. And so if you do receive an offer letter, that will be included in the details, as well as the dental insurance. And so please feel free, if you do get an offer, to ask me any questions about Delva, and I handle that whole entire process. And once you arrive, we have lots of housing on campus and also off campus. We have great athletic gyms. We have wonderful meal plans. What I do recommend, if you do get an offer letter, to get your name on the wait list for on-campus housing, because it's usually a little bit cheaper and it's close to campus. There just isn't, I got to admit it, you can get into the program. Quite often students will get on the wait list, and before they are able to arrive, they'll notify that their apartment is available. Unfortunately, with the age of the internet and apartment managers increasing rates, what you see online is not always a direct relationship to what's available out on campus. People advertising online know with apartments that they can charge higher rates than they can here on campus or off campus. And so my recommendation is to be able to arrive. You can look for an inexpensive Airbnb. Most students will be arriving in August. Utah does have a very active skiing tourism season in the wintertime, and there are plenty of inexpensive places to stay in the summer. So you come here, stay for a couple of days, and very inexpensively until you find a place or connect with other students in your lab and find different places to stay. But I've never had a problem with students not being able to find a place to stay within the first week of arriving. And also, we do have a free bus and a light rail system as a TRAX as a part of your enrollment. And so you'll get that, and there's lots of apartments close by within the TRAX line. So I encourage you guys to don't stress about applying or about finding a place to stay once you move in here. This is a new slide that I've added about tips and tricks. I think this is perhaps one of the most helpful things is before you apply, be sure that you meet the GPA requirements. And most of our PhD students who do get offers do have some research experience or published paper. That's something that we're looking for. It's not required, but it's something that we look for in the application. But I strongly encourage everyone here to please look at the faculty profiles. One of the questions they'll be asked in the application is specifically to identify 3 faculty members that you would like to work for, or the 3 sub areas that you would like to work for. Your application is directed directly to those faculty members who are hiring for those specific purposes. And so if you do that, then you're more likely to be able to follow up with them, but know what the faculty are doing, but also take the classes that align with the programs. Some of the students here might be in their finishing up the bachelor's degrees or finishing up their master's degree, and they're looking for the next fall. Take classes that align with your research interests, because we specifically look for those types of classes as we do that. Also, with communicating with faculty, less is more. Faculty don't like to read long emails. I think Delta and other faculty on this are nodding their heads saying, yes, it's true. So ask one question. You can ask a simple question to a faculty member: will you be hiring for this upcoming season? That's a short, quick email, perhaps, or you let faculty know that you've applied to the program. Once your application is reviewed by our faculty and our graduate committee and it's approved, we notify the faculty that these applications are available for offers. But sometimes faculty are busy and not able to do that, or they're reviewing multiple offers. And so it's good to be able to be patient, and please do not pester our faculty. I cannot emphasize that enough. Don't keep emailing them. Sometimes it's a polite way of saying, no, I'm not hiring right now. If you don't get a response, don't keep trying to email them. They're extremely busy. But if you're looking to get into a PhD program, for our best applicants, we do admit them to a master's non-funded. It's a great way to get started, your foot in the door in the program, and then start working with the faculty, and eventually that can lead to an opportunity to get into the PhD program. But be prepared for hard work. It's not going to be easy, but it's definitely going to be worth it. So I'm going to stay to the very end of this meeting to answer additional questions, but I just wanted to share some of the best tips and tricks to really help students get into our program.